everyone, welcome back to my channel So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So another episode of Friday Sews for you. I'm really sorry I wasn't around last week. Simon took the week off work, which I feel like I'm always saying that he's taken time off work, but he's actually got quite a bit of holiday to take this year because he didn't get to take it last year and he was allowed to carry more over than normal. So he took the week off and he was doing a few sort of errands around the house just to try and sort of tidy a few things up. And he had me sanding doorsteps and all sorts of stuff. So I had quite a busy week doing that, and so I didn't really get a chance to do any filming. I did do a little bit of sewing, but not really enough to share with you at that point either, so I thought I'd just sort of put it all into this video today. So the first thing that I started really sewing last week was a replacement pirate ship flag for the boys' pirate ship outside. So I'll show you the one that was originally actually on the pirate ship. So it was this one here, and it's just a black sort of plasticky kind of one, and it just got shredded in the wind, as you can see here. And I think actually this was the second one that we had replaced from the company that provided all the bits and bobs with the pirate ship. So I decided to make one to actually replace this one. So I used this as a template just for the sort of shape and that kind of thing, and just drew around it and added a seam allowance. And I found some fabric in my stash that I'd already got that I thought would be really suitable because I'd had it for years and I've never used it and really didn't have any plans for it. And it's actually quite a nice fabric. It's sort of very similar to canvas. So it's a nice green colour, as you can see. And on the reverse of it, it does have like a little plasticky coating on it, so I suppose you could have used it for a coat or something, but I didn't really have enough for a coat for myself, maybe for one of the boys, but in the end it was suitable to make this flag. So I've done it double-sided, so I basically bagged it out and then just top stitched down the side of it, just to keep the edges from rolling out and bubbling. And then I've added this appliqued kind of skull and crossbone design on it, so I didn't unfortunately have any of that heat and bond stuff, so I've literally just sewn it on. So hopefully it will last. If not, I can always make another one. I do have a little bit more fabric to make another flag in the future if necessary. So I've made it double-sided, so I've got the skull and crossbones on the other side as well, although his eyes on this one don't look as scary as on the front one. He looks a little bit more funny. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how that has turned out, and I'll insert a photo of how it looks on the pirate ship. And the boys were really pleased because they didn't expect that to sort of appear. I'd been meaning to do it for about a year, so it was a high time that I got that finished. So that was the first thing that I sewed last week. Then, if you remember, I spoke to you about the New Look 6446 jumpsuit that I was making in the viscose fabric that I'd had under the bed for about a year, or 2 years even, shall I say. Well, I've finally made it up to the point where I just need to insert the zip and hem the bottom of the legs. So here it is at the moment, as you can see. I really do like the fabric. I think it's really, really pretty, but I'm not 100% sure how I am feeling about this jumpsuit at the moment. And the reason for that is I've tried it on in its current state, where I've just sort of held the back seams together where the zip will go to see what it looks like on me. And I don't know, because I had quite a lot of issues cutting this fabric out because it was so drapey and everything, and very move-aboutable. Even though I've sprayed it with spray starch, I think I haven't cut it on the grain very well, and I think it's not hanging quite right. I do have a photo that I can insert of what I took in the mirror of me holding the back, and it looks okay on that photo, but I think once the zip in, I don't know how it's going to look. So I need to get the zip for it so I can continue to finish it, because I would like to finish it. So I've literally, just got to put the zip down the back and just hem the bottom of the trouser legs, because I've actually overlocked those already, because this fabric does tend to fray quite easily. As you can see at the back here, it is starting to fray a little bit there. So I'm going to overlock that section and then install the zip, and we'll see how it goes. But I think for now, I'm just going to put it to one side and I'll come back to it. It's just got to that point where I'm a little bit, I don't know, a little bit cross with it, I suppose. And sometimes I think maybe it was under the bed for 2 years for a reason. yeah, we'll see how we go. It certainly doesn't look as good as Angela's, that's what I will say anyway, so we'll see. So that's how far I've got with that, and I have found that that one has been quite a time consuming sew in comparison to my other two versions, just purely because of the fabric choice. And then I have made some lovely crochet wrist warmers for my friend, and they are by Jayne from Loopy Mabel's Closet. She has a crochet YouTube channel and she also has a website where you can buy her patterns, and they are the Primrose crochet wrist warmers, and that's how they look on the pattern picture. So these are quite easy to make. If you have dabbled in crochet, I think you'd be okay with it. She does actually have a tutorial on her crochet YouTube channel on how to make these, so you actually don't even need to have the pattern to hand if you wanted to just follow along on a step-by-step guide on YouTube. And I've made some for myself in the past and I really like them, and my friend saw them who lives next door to me, so she wanted some, so I have made her a pair, and I've made them in this lovely mustard, I think it's double knit. Yeah, it's double knit wool, and you can see this lovely sort of lace effect, I suppose, that it gives. It's really quite nice actually. I'll put one on so you can see. So they're like this, and I just find them really nice to wear when it's a little bit cooler, you know, underneath your coat and that kind of thing, but you still got your fingers free to be able to do things, whereas sometimes when you have gloves or mittens on, obviously it's not so easy, and they're good for you still using your phone and that kind of thing. But yeah, I find them really pretty, and they come in a few different sizes, so you just sort of increase the chain length as to how big or, you know, wide you need them. This is the second size up, and I just find that that's quite a nice size, so I'm going to be gifting those to my neighbour. And then actually Thomas has seen them and he said, can you make me a pair? I want a pair. So I said, well, they're a little bit girly, but I don't think he's going to be wearing them out. So I actually have made him, this is in the process, he chose this luminous green kind of colour, and I've made him a shorter version. It is a little bit wide for him because I didn't really calculate reducing it, but I think he's only going to wear them like around the house or in the garden. So he tried one on this morning, and I'm going to tie that off and sew in the ends, and he'll just have a little set for himself because he did ask, and he came down and chose this this wool that I originally got for my crochet jumper, but it came, when it turned up, it was a lot brighter than I thought it was going to be, so I didn't think it was suitable for using. So talking about my crochet jumper, I have been doing quite a bit more on it, so I'll show you as far as I've got. So this is at the stage it's at the moment. So since I last spoke to you, I have done the ribbing on the bottom, which I'd never done before. So I'm really pleased with how that's looking. And I found a YouTube tutorial on how to do the stitch, and it's really quite simple. There was 2 stitches that I need to do. I think it was front post treble and a back post treble, I think it is. So you go in front of the stitch and at the back of the stitch, and it creates this ribbing effect. And once you get going, you can really see where the rib is, so it's quite easy to follow once you get going. So I'm really pleased with how that's turned out. And then I've just sort of joined back onto the sleeve and have done this sleeve as far as I've got so far. So if I hold it up against me, at the minute it's coming down sort of just past my elbow. So I'm going to be taking it down to my wrist and putting some more ribbing on at the bottom of the wrist section. But I think you do have to reduce some of your stitches, so that's one thing that I'm not really sure how to do for this post back treble and post front treble. I think you have to do those reducing or something, so that's another tutorial I'll probably have to look up. But I'm really pleased with how that's looking so far, so hopefully it won't be too much longer before I finish it, because doing the treble sort of granny stitch on the sleeve, you know, you're only doing it in a small circumference, so it doesn't take too long to do a round, you know, so you do get, it does grow quite quickly. So that's been really nice to do. What else have I done? Now, I've got this, it was a little project that I did this week, and I've been meaning to do this since the twins were born, basically. So when the boys were really young, I made some salt dough, and I imprinted their feet into the dough and then cooked it in the oven to set, and I've had it wrapped in bubble wrap for a number of years, and I've been meaning to put them into like a frame or something to put up on the wall, and I've finally done it. Now I bought some fat quarters from somewhere, I can't remember where it was, and they were quite a neutral colour, so I thought I'd put that at the back of the frame and then attach these salt dough foot imprints of my boys, and I've put their names underneath, and I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. So it's just a sort of box style frame, and you can, you know, have it so it's just stood up with the little thing there, or you can hang it on the wall. So I've got here, this is James's footprint, and then that's Harry's, and that's Thomas's, and I had written on the back whose was whose and at what date I did that, and I think they were all about 2 months old at the time. So you can actually see there is a slight colour difference with Harry's dough compared to Thomas and James's, because I did those two on the same day, and that was obviously a couple of years before. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with how that's turned out, and I really like the fabric that I've used at the back. And for their names, I literally just did that on, you know, Microsoft Word on my laptop, printed it off, and just stuck them on to the fabric direct. And I just used, I think it was Gorilla Glue, super glue, to stick those on, and that worked really well so they don't move off. And so I think I will have that hanging on the wall somewhere at some point, but at the moment it's just on my windowsill in the bedroom. But yeah, I'm really pleased with that. So if you've got a young baby, it's definitely something worth doing. You know, really nice little keepsake. And I did one for each of my, like my mum, my nan, my 2 nans at the time, I think it was, and also my mother-in-law. They all had sort of an imprint. It was either a hand or a foot, whichever one turned out the best at the time when I did them. So that's really nice. They've got those sort of, you know, kept in there as a keepsake somewhere. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how that has turned out. So I'll get that put up on the wall. And I finally have printed off the PDF pattern of the So Different Longline jacket, which I will be doing for the Bobbins and Buttons blog, and I've got that gorgeous jacquard fabric to sew for that one. I haven't cut out the size that I want to do yet, because I'm just debating on which size to do, so I just need to make sure it's a jacket that you don't actually fasten up, it just stays open, so it's more of like a dress kind of jacket that you would wear over a nice dress or that kind of thing. So I'm hoping to get that done over the next week or so, at least get it started anyway. And I'm a bit like, I suppose I need to make a toile, but I don't know if I can be bothered to make one. I might need to grade between 2 sizes, so I might have to make the effort to do it. It's just, you know, it's an unlined jacket as well, so it should be quite easy to make. And when looking at the pattern pieces, it does look quite a simple make as well, which is quite nice. So it just might take me a little bit longer, because the seams on the inside I want to finish with bias binding, just so that all the raw edges are hidden away really. So that's basically what I've been getting up to over the past couple of weeks. So I'm intending to get a little bit more sewing done. I've just found that this past week or so has been quite busy with doing a few other bits and bobs. And I have to say I'm feeling a little bit stressed at the moment, because I'll give you a little update on our rabbit situation. They've been getting on absolutely fine, and we've been having, you know, lovely time with them, and things it's just been marvellous having the rabbits, and they've been so lovely. But as of yesterday, they have started fighting, and they are 2 males, and they have got to sort of 5 months old, so they've sort of hit puberty, as it were, and I think their hormones have kicked in, and that both of them are trying to be the dominant one. So we have just booked them in to be, I think it's castrated is the word, or neutered. Yeah, because that will just calm them down, and hopefully they'll be able to regain the bond that they had. But at the moment we've had to separate them because they're just constantly fighting, and it's horrible. It's like this big ball of fur is just in front of you, like a cartoon kind of thing. It's just crazy. And obviously you don't want to try and get your hands in to split them, because they'll probably just rip your hands to shreds. So we had to split them up, and luckily the way my husband had done the hutch combined with the run, we can put one in the run section and one in the hutch at night time, so that they're separated, and then in the day we kind of swap them over. And then we do have a run on the grass area as well now, because we've introduced them to be able to have a little bit of grass, because it's a bit sensitive for their stomach initially, so you have to introduce it gradually. So now they can go on the grass. But yesterday we put them in the run together on the grass, and I just went in to check the dinner that I was cooking, and all of a sudden I could see them, this ball of fluff going everywhere, and we had to split them up again. So it's been a little bit stressful because they've been getting on so well up until yesterday, which is just a real pity. And I did ring the breeder today actually just to ask his advice, and he just said, you know, just try and separate them up to the point of having them castrated and then reintroduce them together. Even the vet actually said, you know, try not to keep them separated for too long because they need to still have the scent of each other. So my husband's going to come home tonight, and he's going to split the run that he's done for the grass into two so they can still be side by side and smell each other and that kind of thing and be nose to nose, but then they are not going to be able to get at each other because one's more frisky than the other. And I think it's a bit of sexual frustration, I think it is. And apparently once you castrate them, the hormones will calm down 2 to 4 weeks after they've had that done, so hopefully the fighting will stop, or if they do still fight, it's going to be not as much or as often. It's just not very nice at the minute. Yeah, so it wasn't very nice to see that yesterday. So it has made me feel slightly stressed, I have to say. And also the twins have been a bit of a handful at the moment as well, so that's on top of that. Yeah, they're just at the point where, you know, just answering back all the time and just being naughty quite a lot of the time, and it's just hard work. I'm sure you'll understand if you've had children. They're just at that age, you know, where they're just pushing the boundaries a little bit too far. But that's been my couple of weeks anyway, and I hope you're all doing really well. So thank you very much for joining me today. I'm sorry it's just a short sort of brief one again. I hopefully we'll have a little bit more to share with you next week, all being well. So take care, and I shall see you again soon. Bye.